the decision that was so crucially important and also informed the rest of the draft, because we all assumed, and rightfully so, that Jacksonville was going to take Trevor Lawrence, was the Sam Darnold, do we keep him, do we not, what do we do with the second overall pick combination? At what point did you see Zach Wilson and say, that's the guy, as much as you might have liked Sam personally and also what he could do on the field? When did that happen where you're like, okay, Zach's the guy, that's the guy?
There was well, we studied all the quarterbacks pretty early, and it was clear to us that he was up there and worthy of not only the number 2 pick, but the number 1 pick, in our opinion. He's just a worthy football player. And from there was just a lot of, all right, well, let's just get these boxes checked, from medical to seeing him in person to having conversations and talking to him. And every single hurdle or every obstacle that was presented to the young man, he crushed it. And so as far as, the decision with Sam, that didn't come along until Joe was given an offer he couldn't refuse, and that was it. So it just kind of happened organically,
Mm-hmm.
When Joe said he was listening to all calls, he wasn't lying. He was listening to everything, for the 2, for Sam, for everything. And we were gathering as much information. I thought Joe and his staff did such a phenomenal job with their due diligence and not just rushing to answers and getting opinions from and different viewpoints from not only the coaching staff but from his staff. So it was very thorough, and I feel like we made the best decision for the organization moving forward.
Well, in terms of just all of us in the NFL media world, we were just so taken aback when the 49ers made such an aggressive maneuver during Zach Wilson's pro day, is when that news came about. Was that the first that you had heard of that trade? Was that pro day?
Yeah, and what's funny is we're having breakfast with John and his staff. It just goes to show you how great they are at keeping things in-house. I mean, we're having breakfast with all of them, and the next thing you know, we're getting these tweets. I was like, well, geez, John, you could have told us. We were sitting right there at breakfast. But to credit to those guys, they're very, very good at keeping things in-house, and a model for what you want every organization to be with regards to that.
Well, in terms of the closeness, you're referring to John Lynch, the general manager of the 49ers, and obviously that's the organization from where you were hired by the Jets to be the head coach. The closeness that you have was, in the NFL media's eyes, the sense as to why the Niners went at 3 as opposed to you at 2, is they knew that you had no intention as the HC or along with the GM of coughing up that 2 because you liked Zach Wilson so much. Did they ever reach out to you and suss you out to maybe use you for information before they went to 3? Coach?
No, there was we keep things in house too. I know the Zach thing became a pretty open deal once Sam got traded, but I thought we've done a really good job keeping things in house and making sure we weren't tipping our hands in what we liked and what we didn't like. But they've done a good job. Kyle is phenomenal at evaluating quarterbacks, and he, in his heart and talking to him afterwards, believed that all 5 were capable of the 3 pick, and it just came down to deciding on which one that they wanted to go after, and I think they did a great job with their due diligence also.
Well, I got to tell you, Coach, speaking as a native New Yorker, you know what my team is, right? Growing up and the team that I've been following, and you have so many hearts and minds in your care right now because of the decision what was made at 2nd overall. What about Zach Wilson makes you think or believe or know that he can handle all those hearts and minds and hopes as well at such a young age, coming from such a vastly different part of the country? What makes you think he's ready for this? What's coming?
I think he's prepared for this his whole life. I know it's not the stage that New York is, but BYU is it's all there is out in Utah. I mean, that's not the only thing that's out there, but it's BYU, it's Utah. And the amount of attention and media scrutiny and the all eyes on that program. They live, breathe, and love BYU football and Utah for that matter. So he's been at the eye of the storm for a very, very long time in terms of just the amount of pressure that is put on them to be successful. And so, and when you talk to him, he's got a confidence about him. He's very, very intelligent. And are there going to be growing pains? There absolutely is. He's still a very young man trying to figure it out. But the one good thing about Florham Park is it's still 30 miles away from Manhattan. So even though we're close, it still feels like 100 miles away. But we've got tremendous confidence in him and the growth he'll have as he becomes who we think he'll be.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.